I say, I come an hour earlier. I come the third. So, discuss probably about 10 people right there.
Oh God, nice to see you. Did you can get download the?
I still haven't checked it yet.
Oh, okay, that's fine.
I don't want to check it out.
Okay, I'm just waiting for the footage from Mount Pleasant, and then I'm gonna put Marshall's Gold there.
So I've said to him.
Hi, Pat.
Safe distance.
Yes, exactly. I was about to give you the elbow. Everyone's doing the
You understand
elbow.
me?
Yeah.
Right? So, I looked.
You can. Yeah, it's okay. I found this one and it works.
Okay, okay,
So it was over here already. Thank you. No, I sent you a live stream.
It's mainly about postponing.
Oh, it's mainly about postponing. Okay.
Government said do that.
Okay. Okay.
Decided.
I'll change the wording.
No, but you're going to change the wording. Why you would?
Because right now I have it as
Same here, France.
I have week 30 preview. Is it now?
Week 30.
Yeah.
But the result of what happened last night, which is what you know, instead. The
Okay.
emergency meeting now has brought it to a halt.
But no handshaking. Yeah.
Mic check, microphone check, 1 2 3, mic check, 1 2 3, microphone check, 1 2 3.
Brandon, what's up?
Not much. How are things going?
So far, so good. Yes. Good day, you know, we have to go watch it. The wrong festival.
I can even say him can't support it and him said it's not come out. It's too near to good.
We have one member
Have a
staff.
direct answer.
Yes.
So this is the slab of my wall.
Couldn't get linked. So Bridget collect fish for him. He said, yo, me I found earn. So brother, yes. What is the fun? What is the fun? Fish burn keep on Thursday.
Okay. One key to everything I keep. One key to the other too tough. Thursday.
You say, could I turn into a week of every month thing? Or you know, special things?
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the JFF's headquarters for the Red Stripe Premier League's press conference. We're going to start in less than 5 minutes, so kind of make your way forward, noting all new health protocols. Please refrain from coughing in public and so on, and feel free to use the restroom, which is to the left of the podium, right there where that gentleman is now entering, if needed. But welcome, we're about to start in less than 5 minutes.
Oh, you wouldn't know.
Carville.
You
Good morning once again, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome on behalf of the PSA and the JFF to their HQ to this Red Stripe Premier League press conference. A lot slated on today's agenda ahead of what should be match week 30. However, we'll definitely start by welcoming and hearing from new partners and sponsors of the league who have been on board for some time now but have not yet sent their message to us, media, players, partners, stakeholders, as well as to the general public. So we're going to hear from them shortly. Starting first with our GM from the Sports Development Foundation. He's been on board from virtually inception. So being a seasoned veteran, I'd like to welcome Mr. Denzel Wilkes to the podium to just give his remarks about being on board of Jamaica's top flight football, the Red Stripe Premier League. Mr. Wilkes.
Thank you very much, sir. I don't want to tell the story about the last time I was asked to open the batting, because it's not such a sustainable story, so I will leave that one alone. But suffice it to say that it is good to be here. Respects to all those at the head table, and of course everybody here, our media people and all of that. From the level of our dear Minister, Honorable Olivia Grange, through our board led by Chairman George Suter, all the way to the La Liga, even as far as the German Bundesliga, and even many others in not so popular places, is an indication. And oh, if we could get to that stage where we become as supportive of our own Premier League. And so in recognition of that, it was a no-brainer as far as our local Premier competition, and fully. And we're watching closely to see all goes as we would like it to go, and we move the development from there onwards. We have on the table, and we are continuously looking to ensure that we move from strength. There can be no question about the commitment of the Sports Development Foundation. I have no authority to make any additional commitments, but I will tell you that it is in the interest of to have a well-run tour that organizers of the competition develop a product, and that is where it all hits. Then they say when the tire hits the road, sustainability of this competition. We know that as far as I'm concerned, locally, the numbers are never enough for the gate to take care of everything. So we have to develop that quality which we can put in. We are going to really show the sustainability. But we are there with you in the trenches, and we wish you all that is good. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Sir Will. Now, in recent Red Stripe Premier League Monday Night Football, we've seen across Stadium, especially recently one Monday night fixture I recall fans say, yeah, first class, so you don't know. Hear what the fans in the stands as well as stakeholders and the league has received from one of the Premier League's newer partners. Here is Jeremy Barnes, COO of PESCO.
Good morning, everyone. Can you hear me? Really grateful and thankful for you guys inviting us here today. I'm not sure what you're talking about, but you just made a century. So, I'm not really sure how I'm going to come in and defend my wicket. But I'll do my best. FESCO is a Jamaican company. We've been around for about 4 and 5 years. We're a young company, and when we look at the landscape of Jamaica, we try to pick nations to associate ourselves with. And when we thought of the Premier League, it was a delight and a joy that we could be able to partner with the Premier League, associate our brand with their brand. As I said earlier, football is Jamaica. Jamaica is football. Myself, I tried to play up to the Pepsi level at Ulmos, but football is something that we all. I don't know anything else in Jamaica that brings us all together. From any walk, everybody just come together and knock a ball together, play a scrimmage, play football, watch Champions League, watch Premier League football, watch Red Stripe Premier League. In visiting the matches, you see the people in the crowd and you get the feeling of what is going on, and you can realize that the people who watch the game really know the game and enjoy the game and they love the game. Again, at FESCO, what we are trying to do and what we have been doing over the past 5 years is developing on that what is truly Jamaican. And we believe that this partnership with the Premier League is something that will benefit both, and we'll do our best to support you guys to see how much we can grow this partnership in the future. And it's the first stage, and let's see how it goes. And I'm really, really proud and happy to be here to be part of this. So on behalf of FESCO, my board, all our customers, all our patrons, thank you for having us, and let's go forward together.
All right, before I inappropriately allow you to leave, just shed in about 15 seconds some of the activations that already begun on the grounds at some of the Premier League matches.
Well, at some of the matches, we decided to give away free gas, to our locations, about vouchers, about 2,500 at each game. So, want to support us to, come to the matches, that you can get some free gas at our locations. And we're going to continue to do that. Plus, stuff coming up, later part of the years that, will be bigger and better. But at this point in time, that's what we have done so far. Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Is used for organization of your dollars and cents. One person who has come on board with their company to not just advise the boards, the organizers, the administrators, but also help out the players in some way, shape, or form, is our next representative. What an introduction, Ian. This is Ms. Claudia Christie, and I will try her title. She's the Group Marketing and Communications for Jamaica Credit Union link. Jackal, she will correct me in a few seconds. Miss Claudette Christie, everyone.
Good morning, everyone. I'm representing today the Jamaica Cooperative Credit Union League. And this organization is the umbrella or the national association for the 25 credit unions that are in Jamaica. So whatever we do on behalf of the brand that you will see at the matches. Leave football alone. Sport, the people of like mind, without regard for race, class, politics, religious persuasions, and of course we don't talk about its sexual orientation and other things. It's the same for credit unions. We do not discriminate. We allow anyone, so long as you can become a member and you can save and you can borrow. We do not discriminate, and football does not either. Football has much in common with our core values in the credit union movement: fairness, integrity, transparency, cooperation, of course, accountability, and respect for players, for all the people who are part of this dynamic. We are very happy to be on board with this competition for this year, this season. We missed last. I'm thinking very up being part of this great sport. So we are on board. We do not, as a credit union league, do activations. And so we had to bring on board one credit union of the several that we invited. COK gladly accepted the invitation. And so at the matches, you will see their booth, and you perhaps will see other kinds of as well. And they have come on board and they are doing the actual activation. What activation is, they will sign up members. They will also offer financial education to the club members as well. They will sign up everybody. They'll offer the financial education to the members, and they will do other things that they will agree with each club to do on behalf of their credit unions. I don't know how many clubs they have spoken to as their little secret until everybody knows what it is that they do with the other clubs. But as far as the Jamaica Cooperative Credit Union League is concerned, we are very pleased to be part of this, and we are hoping that at the end of this season, more people will have learned about credit unions. We have a little over 1 million members in Jamaica. We are hoping that at the end of the season, we'll have more than that number who have come on as members, and also that it will increase our national presence. I tell you this, the first time we were seen on TV, it was one excited about seeing themselves on TV, but they were pretty excited about seeing the Credit Unions of Jamaica logo in the background. Continue as long as we can. Yes. Members of the credit union as the credit unions in Jamaica. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Ms. Claudette Christie. She's the Group Marketing and Communication Manager of Jamaica Cooperative Credit Union Links. League. All right, let's all say it together one more time. Jamaica Cooperative Credit Union League. All right, we got it. That was well intended by the Master of Ceremonies. Next, we're hearing from the Premier League Club Association Vice Chairman. We all have come to know him and love him. I appreciate his hard work over just a few years. Mr. Carvel Stewart, everyone. Few decades, apologies, few decades.
Thank you, Kino. Morning again, everyone. Morning to the distinguished members of the table. We were meant today to both introduce and receive greetings from, but there's some other news which I'll leave for a little later. First of all, thanks, Denzel. And frankly, the news I have for us may mean, although you don't have a commitment, is it that you didn't have a further commitment? You may have to come now, because I think we're going to spend some more time this season, which will give everybody some extended exposure. Germany was a little bit shy about what they do. They have actually done more than give out a little gas every game. They have also given us some money, and they are recognizing the outstanding players and coaches as well with additional support. So, Jeremy, thank you very much again for coming on board and for participating. Miss Christie, your son went to the best high school in Jamaica. I left it there for him some many years ago, and a lot of other people have been through it since then. But it was really good. We attended a presentation at the headquarters of the Credit Union League, and what they announced then was extremely good for us, the league, and we're happy for the participation. Just to advise you that although we have not seen the plethora of media people that we're hoping to have this morning, we are actually live internationally. We are being streamed. That gentleman you see hiding there in the corner have us on an app, and also have us on YouTube, Brandon. We're live, you're live on YouTube, so your contribution has been sent across the world. So thank you again for being with us this morning. We now have to come to the crux of the matter. We won't have the clubs up here today because in accordance with the government's announcement last night, and after a fairly short meeting this morning, it was decided that the league would be the matches for today and for the weekend will be postponed to observe the government's wishes that we don't have large crowds attending. We have not yet decided on the further involvement of the teams, and we will be meeting next week again to determine whether we go as of next round or if there are further delays. Everything we do and what I'm announcing here is with the approval of the president of the JFF, because we spoke to him directly and he says it's with his full approval. We have to be very careful. We are aware of how dangerous this disease can be, and therefore we have made that decision. We are following up. There are further discussions about training and so on, and even possibly getting all our clubs tested. And we'll see how far we can go and achieve with that. We do know from the announcement last night that testing is limited to people who have shown some symptoms because there are not enough kits and so on available. But even some minimal assessment before we can get to the actual virus itself, we will attempt to do, and we should try to do, through our individual clubs, because, you know, temperature and all of those other things can readily be examined. It's really determining whether or not the virus is present that takes a little time and takes a little additional resources that are not currently available in large quantities, that everybody can be tested, which is really a wish of ours. If we could test everybody here, we could then determine the extent to which we have been exposed, so that containment is what the government is aiming for. News from the Caribbean Public Health Association is that if we contain properly, it won't last longer than 3 months. If not, it can go as long as 8 months. So let us hope that we all succeed in our efforts to have it just remain as small as possible. Thank you very much for being here nonetheless. I don't see any other than the Sportsmax people and Brandon I don't see anybody else here who would actually be asking any questions. But if anybody here has questions, we'll go. Yeah. Recognize Clive Busy Campbell.
World Sports International.
They seem to gone.
And I'm a bit disappointed when I look around and see media reps.
Well, you can rest assured they were all invited, and Clyde even proceeded further this morning while we were in meetings to sensitize all of them to our activities and asking them to be present.
You just remember something about boxing. They don't want us to unite. And I'm saying this because I was a league director way back in the 90s. And I was one who was pushing gentlemen to come together, clubs, because I know what was going on the inside.
Right.
When you put that aside, I was at a game Monday. And while watching the game, one of my phone ring. And by the time I bend down the phone, I saw Waters person dribbling across the field. And by the time I answer the phone, something happened. Well, what I'm putting to you, PLCA, I'm willing to make the first contribution. If you could ask sports maps, how could they have behind any one of the goals? Incident that just took place on the field. It's a cost to it to have a monitor like when you go to the stadium or anywhere else, and we highlight what took place. So I'm willing, on behalf of the Violence Prevention Alliance, to make a contribution to save the cost, pay with sports maps. It will entail. You understand? I think she's. You're from sports map? I am. I will see it with the face. So I'm putting that to you, Mr. Stewart.
Yeah.
Put that
Well,
out. I'm willing.
thanks for that. Thanks for that. I think you speak about an incident of a foul and the subsequent action after that.
Yeah.
Well, we were planning to emphasize again to the clubs, and we try to do this around the table, that focus is given to how we prepare the players in respect to that kind of thing. We have now, unfortunately, one of our colleagues has left a label on the league, which I think is quite unfortunate, because the good parts are de-emphasized when you do things like that, because those incidents are not every day, and you do have fouls in football, but it's really not way and beyond the ratio and averages of what happens in the game. But it is what it is, and we just have to make sure we work harder to get the game played in the beautiful way. Other than that incident, it was a tremendous game.
Good game, very good.
It was a tremendous, you know.
And I must say, the reason why someone called me, and next phone, I said, busy, is that? And I tell him, it's unfortunate, by the time I've been on to come forward, thing happened. And he was there getting a replay. Sportsman, he do replays on TV, right?
Yes.
And that's bad. That's why I said, boy, it's unfortunate.
It is unfortunate, because too often that one incident characterizes the game, and not those two tremendous world quality goals that were scored in the game. You know? So let us try to avoid the fouls as much as possible and play the game in the spirit that ought to be played.
And for that, Mr. Short, I'm just a bit disappointed. I see Waterhouse, Cavaliers.
We didn't invite every team necessarily to attend.
Okay.
Yes, it was, we were highlighting a number of games. Yeah, we were all highlighting 2 of the games for this conference, so that's why everybody isn't here. But we do have an open invitation, and you have other members here who are not. Why they're not here? Well, you know what it is with these things. Anything else, people? Anything else of the sponsors? Anybody want to ask them anything? Yeah.
Big sponsors, Red Stripe, and of course, Nivea, the equipment sponsors.
Well,
sent their apologies because they had an emergency.
Well, Pepsi in particular, yeah. They were on their way, but they then called an emergency meeting in light of yesterday's announcements by the government.
Just a few follow-up questions. I will acknowledge the great business concern. Yes, it's a cost. However, it's feasible to have those internal feeds within each stadium. It's a hefty cost that we would welcome additional sponsors in addition to yourself. to yes, I'm sure the PLC and all stakeholders would appreciate such an enhancement to the whole experience, which is a great Monday night and Sunday experience of the league.
I'll share something with you why this came to my thoughts. England 1980, let's see the story. Big Richards on himself and Carlo City. Russia playing against Allah, Europe final. And when they were watching the game, Rudy Good went on the flank. And when he scored the ball, nobody knew where Van Basten came from. Everybody, the cameraman, everybody, a couple minutes well, then we search until they get an angle and pick up where he was coming from. And so the goal was scored. I don't know if you all remember that.
Yeah. Some of us recall, some of us were just still in diapers. But I'm sure we all remember Ronaldo Wright's pass to Vishnu Harris for the first goal, and then Conardo's Thomas's great right-footed strike. So those were two superb goals as seen on Sportsmax and Seen TV and across all digital platforms on Island Sports Network. So thank you very much, Busy. Just two quick follow-ups to Carbo. Read the recent announcement of Red Stripe Premier League's suspension due to COVID-19 global pandemic, as per the Jamaica government's advice. He said that was a decision made less than 24 hours ago. However, when is the PLCA's less than 24 hours ago? When the PLCA's next meeting to address the next steps going forward? You mentioned you making decisions about team training, team actions, communication to media partners, sponsors, all stakeholders. When is that next meeting to make more decisions?
We didn't finalize a day, but it's anywhere between Tuesday to Thursday of next week to give us sufficient time to put out notices and inform everybody on it.
All right, cool.
No answer? Yeah, okay.
And the last question before I reopen the option of questions from the floor. Did the Premier League Clubs Association and RSPL stakeholders have a previous plan once it was announced that other leagues are looking into suspension, closed stadium protocol and so on? Was there a previous plan to, in the event that this did happen, the likeliness of this happening?
What happened really, in fact, that there were a number of options that were being discussed. And if you know the PLCA function, it's 12 clubs, and no final decision is made until a consensus is arrived among the 12 clubs. And that's how we operate all the time. So the final consensus was given, as you said, within the last 24 hours.
Last chance, any opportunity? I see Ladiel, I see Nikolai looking left, right on the phone thinking. Any questions? It's beyond football, it's not just a Red Stripe Premier League issue. We all understand and know that. Any last words of caution? I know you wear many hats, however, not yet the medical doctor hat.
No,
we
not
still
quite. Won't do that.
To get that certification. However, any last advice or guidance as per what the next step will be?
Denzel wants to.
Just very quickly, it should be noted, based on the news of China, seems to have gotten control.
Broken the back of it. Yeah.
Excuse me, Mr. Wilkes, sorry.
Yes, it seems, one report said like one day they had about just 15 new cases. Now if you recall, when we say China, we're talking about 1.5 billion people. And the thing started there, and so I know a lot of us would have been cursing them and they eat the wrong things, all of that sort of thing. But to bring a pandemic like this under control in a country with 1.5 billion people, I think is a massive achievement. And the fact that I know your 3-month thing is based on that kind of a thing it goes up and tapers. So it means that if we learn from them, we should be able to contain. Right now, as I sit here, we're getting reports of a couple more in schools and that sort of thing.
Yes,
that is almost inevitable.
Yeah, I got a number this morning as to additional confirmation. I'm not going to say it here because the minister will want to.
Right. But it means that there is hope, and it means that we must take the lessons from wherever we see best practices. Thank you.
Yes, and I tend to look at the occurrence in the opposite direction, because too often we kind of run scared and crazy and not really. And then it also has to do with being an applied scientist. Um, less than 3% fatality, less than worldwide. So it's more than 97% recovery. So let us look at working towards the positive side and don't focus as much on the negative. Let us prevent, let us take all the precautions and just move forward with this thing. Because yeah, and you'll see no panic from me at all because that thing not going to affect me in any way. Yeah, man.
And before I allow Mr. Stewart to leave, it's not an official plan to the public. However, what are some of the steps you'd want to see actioned by yourselves, PLCA, as well as the greater footballing and sporting community? What are some of the steps that you definitely want to bring up in the next meeting as per the suspension due to the COVID-19?
Well, we will certainly be looking at how best to continue under the circumstances, because there will be obvious examples presented to us from other larger, more accomplished and better financed levels. And so we'll be looking to those for some guidance. We see different things happening. We see people suspending indefinitely at this time. We see others playing behind closed doors, which was an option that we explored, by the way. But we would need the consensus of the government, because we wouldn't want to go forward and just seem as if we were being irresponsible and not taking into consideration the wider community. So we will be really looking and studying to find out where best to go.
Yeah. Thank you very much, Mr. Carvel Stewart. He's the Vice Chairman of the Premier League Clubs Association.
Right.
Thank you very much also sponsors at this head table just now. We heard from Mr. Denzel Wilkes of SDF, he's the GM there. Mr. Jeremy Barnes, the COO at FESCO. Thank you very much for coming on board, as well as Miss Claudette Christie. She is the Group Marketing and Communication Manager for the Jamaica Cooperative Credit Union League. You see, look at the applause she gets. I'm sure it has nothing to do with me. All right, thank you very much, sponsors and Mr. Stewart. I'm going to ask you to join the congregation, and then we're going to just get literally quick feedback, reactions as per players and administrators, coaches who were invited to speak ahead of matches this weekend. However, there are quick reactions as the key stakeholders in the Red Stripe Premier League. So thank you very much, my head table. So we're going to welcome representatives from Dunby Holding and Tivoli up first. This was to be the matchup for a matchup on Sunday. We were slated to have for match day 15 on Sunday, match day 30 on Sunday, the 15th of March, Cavalier versus Mullines, Harborview versus Humberline, Portmore Arnett, Vere Huey, as well as our gentlemen here for Dunby Holding versus Tivoli Gardens. The Red Stripe Monday night fixture would have seen Waterhouse hosting Mount Pleasant FA. So first, the pair of Dunby Holding versus Tivoli Gardens. Just going to ask you to say your name and your initial reaction to the suspension of the Red Stripe Premier League amid the COVID-19 virus.
Dwayne Blake, assistant coach Tivoli Gardens. In a way disappointed. We're very much preparing for the game, so we'd have to just change our focus, but that is life. Just have to move on and come again.
Did the Tivoli Gardens unit expect this, anticipate this, or were you just watching the news while training?
No, we never expected it. It was like
preparing for the game overall.
All right, morning, welcome. What's your initial reaction? I know it's more than football. What's your initial reaction as a administrator, a part of the league?
Well, good morning, Paul Christie, team manager, Don Bowling. Well, I personally think that it's better to be safe and take precautionary measures than to, at the end of the day, saying that only if we had done this or only if we had done that. So we really wanted to play the game, but the safety of the patrons and the general populace at large is of far more important. So I can appreciate the decision that was taken.
And then ahead of PLCA's advice statements, as well as the Ministry of Health, the government, the larger government, what's one of the things you are readily preparing mentally to tell your players to do amidst the league suspension?
Well, stay indoors as much as possible. Avoid a lot of public contact, public gathering, and just watch the news and stay safe, stay close to your family, and avoid public gathering in general.
All right, so Smithy, tell us now, as a baller for role, however, there's greater things to life as safety, family, community space is a great thing, and within that, a baller can sweat. If he's positive for the COVID-19, can be transferred to another. 1,001 thoughts going through your head now. After the suspension announced, what's your initial reaction?
Yeah, Ricardo Smith here. It's a good precaution for the suspension, a good gesture. We know footballers, we don't like to not be playing football, but I think a person's health and life matters more than just the joy of playing football. So we just gotta just accept what was brought in front of us now.
I know you haven't had time to think about it, but some of the ways you yourself can foresee yourself individually staying fit, staying focused, as opposed to public training and gyms and so on?
This is a tough one. This is a tough one because this is an ailment that we're not sure who has it or who doesn't. So gathering for training and thing is going to be risky. But at the same time, if we are not sure, we gotta go out and try to keep fit. You know, the amount of time we get off, we got to know when and when to train and when and when not to train. But we just have to just listen for further instructions from the government, from the management and everything, and just do what we can do. Even on our own, players, you know, just come together and know that we gotta stay disciplined and do a few little training sessions on our own.
Thank you very much, gentlemen. Appreciate it. Without any delay, we'll ask members of Mount Pleasant and Waterhouse, which should have been the Monday night fixture, to join us on the podium. Thank you very much, gentlemen. Unrehearsed, well-spoken, and true words. Up next, we have club captain and representative of Waterhouse FC, Nikolai Finlesser, with his manager, Keith Salesman, apologies. And then we have Mr. Ladale Ritchie, one of the club captains for Mount Pleasant FA, and their general manager, Mr. David Galloway. We're going to start from closest to my left. Nick, COVID is on the island. It's a global pandemic, however, when it's closer to home, it's different. What's your initial thoughts of the league suspension?
I think, good morning first and foremost, Nikolai. I think it's great for the league to postpone as well, because health comes first. And we know this is a serious disease and we just have to take all the precaution measures possible. And not just us as players alone, but our family. After we don't play, we go home to our family and friends and so forth. So we just have to do our best as possible, keep safe and keep close to our family as well.
We've seen in other leagues globally, not just football, however, for example, the National Basketball Association, where teammates have transmitted from one to another, Utah Jazz, Rudy Gobert and Donovan Mitchell. How important is it that you as one of the senior men of Waterhouse football and football in general, be vocal about the precautions and the measures to take amongst the peers? How important is that?
It's very important, you have to give the players a heads up as well. Even the younger players, them, have to inform them people, watch all the news, follow it on their YouTube, follow it on their Facebook, everything, see what is going on in the world. So you just have to give them a heads up and just say, watch some news and get the idea of what is going on around the world. I was watching the basketball last night and said the news about Goldburn as well. So I just have to keep a heads up and keep safe as well.
All right, manage, sir, salesman, administrator behind the scenes, the purchases, the ins, the outs, the logistical nightmare that has arrived on your doorstep now. But you're a caring leader. How are you going to plan for organizing the team's activities, which no longer include week-to-week football, and where health is a paramount concern?
Chief salesman, team manager, Waterhouse Football Club. It will be a difficult period for now, not just locally, but because Waterhouse involvement with the CONCACAF League, it will impact even preparation for that segment. But for now, we'll just focus in on the Red Stripe Premier League to see how quick we'll get back into action.
From training to breakfast, food and porridge, how will that interaction change now while monitoring the team, some 25 to 35 players, not to mention youth squad and female squads? How will that all change now while internal quarantine? I know you don't have all the answers, but I'm just helping to think out loud. Internal quarantine, observing players, a man with a cold, a gentleman with a fever, a lady who is having shortness of breath. How will the team prepare or try to plan to be more responsive and safe?
Well, my first order is to get back to my team doctor now and to work out a plan. Because even the training aspect, you have to get in the players' mind and them head, because 30 players has 30 different opinions on the matter. Some doesn't even want to come to training. Say something will fall from the sky. So medically now, we have to stay close to our medical advice and then translate those information to the team.
And lastly, real quick, any word from CONCACAF as per that club championship?
Not yet, because that date is really in May. So it's really early. But we have to be mindful of our preparation going into that tournament.
All right, Ladale, top of the table clash, flipped 180 as per global pandemic. Initial reactions to Red Stripe Premier League suspension due to the COVID-19.
Good morning, Ladale Richie, I'm President Captain. As everyone can adhere, I think it's a good thing to suspend the league, because as everyone has said, family and the personal health come first other than football.
All right, without telling those who can't see the audience while the news was broken, somebody close to you was like, I knew it, Jano, I knew it. Before the announcement, were there steps internally within MPFA, as well as you personally with family and friends? How were your preparations without any certainty of it getting to Jamaica? Now it's here, without any certainty of a league suspension. Now that has happened. Were there any talks? What was the talks? What were the talks behind the scenes?
Well, we were informed from our managers and everybody to take precaution, but otherwise from that we were preparing for the game Monday night.
All right, thanks much. Word from one of our managers is the gentleman who now has the microphone, Mr. David Galloway, GM of MPFA.
Morning,
David.
everyone.
Morning, David.
David Galloway, Managing Director of Mount Pleasant FA. Hearing the information that was passed on, I think it is a wise move, a smart move for us, even though we are anticipating a well-featured game for Monday night between opponent Waterhouse. But at the end of the day, football must prevail, but not only football, but we have to think about our players' health and our spectators and our families that we have to go home to each evening and each weekend. At Mount Pleasant, we were putting things in place because we were anticipating something like this may would have happened, but we put in some contingency plans, and what we decided to do, instead of sending no more players for this weekend, we decided to keep them in because we don't want to send them out and we don't know what they are going out there in. So we decided to keep them for the weekend, and our doctors will be monitoring us on a day-to-day basis to see the best way going forward.
All right. If information was received, you care to share any of the tips or info that some of your doctors or advisors have given yourself and the club?
Well, the doctors are informed us that we have to stay focused. It is something that it is an epidemic that is going around, so we have to know where we go, what we do, how we react, and how we relate with each other and even to the public. I mean, it is something that we wouldn't want to be here, but it's right here on our doorstep. So we have to just brace ourselves and see how best we can eliminate certain things, going to certain places, and really being in a crowd, or how we react to each other on the field and off the field.
All right, thank you very much, Mr. David Galloway, Managing Director of Mount Pleasant FA, with his club captain, Ladiel Ritchie. Their opponent should have been the host of Red Stripe Football Mondays. We have Waterhouse's General Manager, Mr. Keith Salesman, Team Manager, and one of the club captains, Nikolai Finlayson. Gentlemen, thank you very much. Thanks again to the sponsors who were in the press conference earlier. We had Mr. Jeremy Barnes, the COO of PESCO, speaking about their contributions, including weekly halftime giveaways, the stakeholders' responsibility of being financially wise. A little bit of light was shed on that by the group marketing and communication manager of Jackal, Ms. Claudette Christie. Pepsi Cola Company, who are the parent company of Gatorade, they send their regards. They literally have an internal emergency meeting as per this global pandemic. So they send their apologies and regards for their absence. Mentions to, of course, Mr. Desmond Wilkes, the GM of SDF, who are longtime partners and sponsors. Acknowledging Island Sports Network, the global digital partners who stream online via the ISN app. I see Brandon Kabbalah here representing them as usual, who have us YouTube as well as the ISN app. And Sportsmax and Scene, the broadcast partners of the Red Stripe Premier League. So thanks again on behalf of the JFF, today's host for this press conference, and of course Premier League Club Association, who are the organizers of the league and all festivities today. On behalf of the GM, Chairman, everyone from PSA, we thank you, and we will be in touch via all media, digital, print. We look out for notices from Pat, Franz, and Carter, which will duly follow to all teams, administrators, as well as viewers, fans, media, etc. Thank you very much. See you next week for anticipated press conference for more on the league and what has been done over the, which will be the previous 6.5 days. Thank you very much.